Interview sequencing is one of the most important strategies in a workplace investigation. It is not simply deciding who to interview first. It is about controlling the flow of information, protecting evidence, preventing collusion, and giving every participant a fair opportunity to tell their story. In most workplace investigations, the sequence follows an outside-in approach. We normally begin with the complainant because they define the allegations, identify the issues, and point us toward potential witnesses. Next, we interview neutral or peripheral witnesses who may have observed events but are not directly involved. We then move to key witnesses who have direct knowledge or evidence. Finally, we interview the respondent or subject of the investigation. Interviewing the respondent last has several advantages. By that stage, the investigator has already collected documents, witness statements, and other evidence. This allows the respondent to respond to the full case rather than only part of it, which supports procedural fairness while making it much more difficult for them to tailor their explanation to fit what other witnesses have already said. Of course, every investigation is different, and there are important exceptions. In theft, fraud, corruption, or ethics investigations, the investigator may decide to interview the suspected employee much earlier, especially when there is already strong evidence, and there is concern that evidence could disappear or be destroyed. If the identity of the offender is still uncertain, investigators often begin with people on the fringe of the suspect group and gradually move toward those who appear to be more directly involved as additional evidence emerges. Sometimes investigators also conduct surprise interviews without advance notice. This approach may be appropriate when there is a real risk that someone will destroy documents, delete electronic records, coach other witnesses, or simply disappear before the interview can take place. The decision should always be based on protecting the integrity of the investigation rather than trying to intimidate anyone. Another important objective of interview sequencing is preventing collusion. Every witness should be interviewed separately, and investigators should remind participants that the investigation is confidential and should not be discussed with colleagues. Whenever possible, interviews should be scheduled close together so there is less opportunity for people to compare stories or influence each other's recollection. Finally, investigators should remember that interviews are not always a one-time event. As new evidence is discovered, follow-up interviews may become necessary. A witness may need to clarify an earlier statement, explain new information, or respond to contradictory evidence. Likewise, if new allegations arise after the respondent has already been interviewed, they should be given another opportunity to respond. This is an important part of procedural fairness and helps ensure the investigation remains legally defensible. Good interview sequencing protects evidence, improves the quality of information, reduces the risk of contamination, and ensures every participant has a fair opportunity to contribute before conclusions are reached.